Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today's build and play guide we have the Belfast, which, if you're watching this at the current time of the video, is in the shop. It does have, the default premium skin and the St. Patrick's one. For the sake of the event, I have the St. Patrick's Day one on, as you guys can see in the background. I was a little hesitant when I looked at this ship. The thing that first struck me as interesting is sonar, smoke, and radar. And after that, I kind of seen that part of it. I was pretty interested in the ship. So let's go over the commander build. So I actually just have a Bruce Fraser. It has a Geist or a skin on it, so it looks different. But with Nikolai Kuzanov and Membeli for reload and range on our inspirations. Base trait is movement speed. And for our skills, we're using Beyond Range, Igniter, and Punch Through, Fixated, and definitely want fully packed. Having extra smoke, a sonar, and a radar is huge on this ship. Now, if um, if I was building it for this ship, I would probably take Velocis. You're not going to use your AP a ton in this ship, so it might be a better perk. Just keep that in mind when you're playing it, what you want to do. So for upgrades, dispersion. This could be up to you. I planned my shots well enough ahead where turret traverse is not normally a huge thing. Normally, this does have a little bit slower turrets. Not terrible, but they're not fast. So if you wanted to do main battery mod, as you can see, I have one. This is what I originally had on it. Um, and then I decided to go with this. And honestly, the extra accuracy is really nice. So, and you'll see in my match, I don't know that I switch my turrets too much. So if you're planning ahead, you can, kind of get ahead, or you kind of know what your turrets will be aimed at. Steering gears mod 2 for your second mod. Uh, Honestly, that's really the only choice, as the the UK cruisers don't get the propulsion mod and a concealment systems mod 2. So we're going to talk about a few things on this ship too that make this interesting. Having the three sonars is nice because with the smokes, hitting in smokes, a lot of people will throw torps at you, and this is really handy to have. So you have as many smokes as you do, or torp, the sonars and the smokes line up very well with the, uh, they lasting similar time frames and, pretty similar reloads on them. The radar is 8.5 for 25 seconds, so it's not a super great radar, but a radar at tier 6 with smoke is very powerful. I can assume as I play this ship more, that is going to be lethal for destroyers that want to try to sneak in and torp on me while I'm in the, while you're in a smoke. For specs, 35,000 health, which isn't terrible. Um, the guns are 6-inch. You get 12 of them, and they reload pretty quick for having 12 guns, by the way. And you can see without the traverse upgrade, it's 25 seconds, so it's not super quick. And don't be at first when I first seen this, I was looking at the shell damage of HE and AP and thinking, wow, that's kind of not great. But you have 12 of them and they reload in 7 seconds. So they're solid. I mean, it's pretty darn solid. AA defense. I haven't used this in a carrier match yet. I did the one match, literally the first match I got is what you're going to see, because it's a very good showcase of the ship. And but the AA doesn't seem like that would be that terrible because it does go out to 5 kilometers at tier 6 is solid. Maneuverability. This thing is actually super maneuverable, and it's kind of wasted because you're not going to be out in the open a whole lot with this ship. You'll see why in a little bit. But 33 knots, pretty solid. Turning circle 680, pretty solid again, and the rudder shift at 7. It's pretty maneuverable for what it is. Concealment at 9.9. You could do bring that down quite a bit if you're going to use um, Makawa in Swirsky. You can get it down. I don't know that it really needs it because at 9.9 you're pretty sneaky as it is. Um, Stats, I just had the one match, so there's no point in showing them. It would kind of ruin the match for you guys. For the armor, this is the downside of the ship. So, and you're gonna see in the match. I was well aware of that going into this match. Uh, it does not have much armor. So for the uh, your bow and stern, heavy cruisers can uh, overmatch your bow. So you got to be real careful. And that's a problem for a few reasons here, guys. This Citadel is huge for a cruiser, particularly a light cruiser like this. I mean, this thing is the full width of the ship. It goes almost front to back, and you don't have much bow or stern plating to hide that. So, crew, you will have issues if you're trying to open water boat this. Now, it can do the warship wiggle good, and if you're good at dodging stuff, it could definitely do that. But you want to be careful. It's a raised citadel, but it's not overly raised. That's the one thing it has going for it. But that citadel is big. I mean, you don't have much, coming in at the front or the back of this thing. So, uh, if you're gonna open boat, cruiser it like I like to do a lot. Be very careful in this ship. It's better to be in cover or your smoke. To be honest with you, um, this can go real bad on you real quick. As we go ahead and start this match and check who we're up against, I do want to say it is disclaimer time. This is a beginner's guide to help out people just learning this ship or learning the game in general. This is not for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything. There is also multiple ways to build and play ships, so opinions will vary. I am just a above average player. I don't claim to be the best player in the world. I just am a pretty darn good player. So I do make mistakes. You're going to see some in this match. And also, you didn't come to this video to see how to pronounce names, as I am very terrible at slaughtering other beautiful languages. It's almost an art form. So keep that in mind when you're watching this, guys. So, with that out of the way, we are on north, and you're going to see. I'm going to put myself. I'm normally aggressive, but with this cruiser and the detection, you can get yourself in pretty good locations. And I want to do that in this ship because you instantly when I saw the armor, I was like, oh, I do not want to take hits in this thing. Um, and sure, you can angle against a lot of stuff, but the problem when you're angling is if one of them shells happens to be inaccurate and goes through your bow, it could be out half of your health instantly. So you're going to see, I start to notice, oh, there's a lot of ships in this gap, and I was originally going to go around this mountain and just go straight left. But I decided to put myself up against the side, not start shooting like crazy. Right here, as you're going to see, um, I'm just going to go ahead and not get myself detected. And you're going to see I put myself in a pretty solid spot here. Now, I would probably be a little bit more angled doing what I did here, but being that this is tier 5 and 6, a lot of people aren't going to blind fire like they will at the high tiers. So you're going to see here, because of this 9.9 detection rate, I don't get spotted, getting into that position. I do when I fire my guns and throw my smoke out, but we're going to go here and we're going to start lighting fires on everything. And this smoke, Smoke and HE and the radar on this ship are just fun. I am. I had a absolute blast. As you're gonna see, we start off right away. We get a fire. He damage conned it, so I go straight back to him. I should have taken one more salvo at the other Arizona, but you're gonna see we get one permafire, so I'm trying to get another one on him. But this other Arizona is broadside to me to get another fire going. Yeah, could I have used HE or AP? And yeah, you could, and I would in some scenarios. But at the very beginning of the match, where they have a ton of health, the fires that you can start early game can be super powerful. As you see, I load AP and shoot, and then the Ramit dies as I go to shoot. But I go back to HE because I know we have a permafire on Arizona. I try leading them. And then also I want to get the wars fight going too here. And you're going to see me kind of alternate shots here. In kind of, try to keep them both going here. I know that sounds crazy, but there was a lot of ships here just a minute ago, and now they've all kind of backed off. They've all kind of gotten out of the way, and you can see it. In a light cruiser at tier 6 to pop off and start with 40,000 damage is solid. That means you're being effective. I'm in the middle of the map. I'm not at the back of the map, so I am going to get a lot of shells on target. You see, I already have 91. You can see my smoke here is dissipated, but looks like I'm completely clear here just to sit and go. Now, I get spotted, but you're going to notice I don't freak out and move right away. You don't have to panic when you're spotted. I see a lot of people do this with destroyers. So I assume a destroyer is behind me. So I'm trying to be kind of ready in case our destroyer needs some help over there. But we're going to keep everybody else busy. As you can see, a Warspite is getting out of range here. And Arizona has now put out the fire. He's shooting at me. But he shot... He fired them shells like he thought I was going to move. And that's why I don't panic. You see, I back up just a touch to make him think now I'm going to start moving. And, you can see he basically isn't going to get another shot at me now. So I'm going to start, since I've kind of taken the middle off of the other team and they can't do much as we get another fire on Arizona, I'm going to actually move myself up here. Looking at the map, it looks like B could use some help because we have a cruiser, we just lose a cruiser there. So there's basically one cruiser really over there because the other cruiser is way behind the mountain, not really in a particular amazing spot. So I'm going to work myself that way as I see the battleship behind me going towards A. And, like I said, just because you're spotted doesn't mean people are shooting at you. You don't want to get hit in this thing, but at the same time, if you're not getting shot at, you're okay for a minute. So, always keep looking at where people's guns are focused. If everybody, they're like, you're gonna see. I think later on, I'm gonna go ahead and just wail out in the open on a battleship because his guns are completely turned around. Now here, the buttons were, for me, I hit the wrong button here. I tried to hit my smoke a little bit earlier, but luckily it didn't hurt me here, but that could have hurt me quite a bit. And I'm just kind of paying attention. I kind of, I have an idea that the destroyers are not here right now because you would have seen them in the cap taking B. So I'm fine sitting here without my sonar. I'm just kind of being careful. If I get spotted while I'm in the smoke, because this says a smoke firing penalty of 5-2, I think, then I know a destroyer's right here. But you're going to see I get a perma-fire on the Fuso as he was sailing broadside. And again, AP can be effective in this ship, but I'm trying to get these fires going because some of these guys had a fair amount of health while I came here, and I could get a lot of ships down on health. It depends on the scenario, but in this ship in particular, you probably want to use HE quite a bit. Now, I was trying to get this New Orleans hit here, or backed up a little bit, so he's not really in the fight. Um, but honestly, I didn't get too many hits on him. I got a few. But we want to make sure we don't let the Fuso forget we're here. And we want to get rid of the Fuso. A Fuso in the right hands can be a very solid ship. So he's our biggest threat over here right now. I can, for the most part, I can the um, angle on New Orleans. So I'm not too worried about New Orleans. And New Orleans is kind of been up and broadside, so I'm not in my view here. The reason I push up is because I don't, having seen how the New Orleans played here, I didn't assume he was a super amazing player, so I focused more on taking out these battleships because if I'm not careful, they can take me out in one salvo. The New Orleans, while a really good ship, obviously, that guy is sailing broadside at 11 or 10 kilometers. Um, Shows that he's probably maybe not the best player. I'm not ripping on anybody, but a lot of times you got to determine your threats by what they're doing, So we're going to go ahead, put that fire out. We got a high caliber at 102,000. So we already have a solid game. You see, I'm going to take a couple shots at him, and that's just to get him back and running. Um, but I'm more worried about the war spite here, guys. You see, his guns aren't really focused at me, so I'm not too overly worried. And you can see the New Orleans is starting to head away. Now, I think our destroyer got caught up in kind of a bad spot here because he ends up having to kind of hide from this war spite. But I was hoping I could get somebody else to do a little bit of spotting for me. And you see, I noticed that right there. The New Orleans isn't spotted, so he's behind the mountain. So you see, I slowly take and I start steering towards the mountain. And I'm going broadside to the Warspite, I know, but the Warspite is not even focused at me. He could care less. He's super worried about a destroyer. And, we're going to go ahead and whittle him down. And you can see I'm going to park myself pretty close to this island so that the New Orleans can't really do much to me while I'm taking on this Warspite. And you see we got another fire on Warspite. I was actually a little surprised I did not get a wither in this match, to be honest with you. It felt like I was pretty close. But you can see, but throw my smoke out here just in case he does take his guns or that New Orleans does try to sneak up. I do have a radar, so if I get spotted while I'm in my smoke, I know that I'm good to go ahead and radar, and there'll be something right here that I can get a huge advantage on. But we're just going to go ahead and focus on Warspite here. Warspite probably was the biggest threat the whole match because the Warspite AP along with Arizona's, if you get hit with it in this thing, you might be going, you might be a submarine real quick when you're going ahead on them. So you can see we also help a lot here too in another way is when you do get a permafire going like that, you will see that he took a lot of flooding damage from that torp. So you're also helping your teammate as we get another kill there. You're also helping your teammate with his flooding damage. So getting people on damage cons are pretty helpful anyway, just for stuff like that too. As you see, I'm going to switch to AP here because he is sailing broadside. We're not going to do as much as I thought I would. I thought I was going to be able to pin him more. He is angled a little bit, obviously, to me. So you're going to see me switch. I'm going to switch over to HE. Just because the AP wasn't doing much. But then I notice he starts going back broadside again. This seems like he's more scared of my battleship to the right. So me and I believe it's in Indianapolis behind me are just going to unload on this guy. He's not going to last too entirely long here. As you can see, we're getting over pins now in full pins, so we're getting damage. I don't think I actually get a Citadel on this guy, which I was really surprised about because I kind of figured I would. I'm getting full pins, but they're just, I'm not getting, didn't get a Citadel on him. But you can see the AP really can melt, guys. As you can see, the Indianapolis finishing them off. Now, this here is a misplay. I actually thought, because of where the battleship was and where them torpedoes came from, I actually thought this guy was going to go hide on the left corner of the map. This last destroyer here, and you're going to find out he doesn't. But I thought he was heading off straight in front of me, and then he was going to sail to the left. But the good thing about this in these endgame scenarios, the radar is, you know, you have radar, your detection is really small. So, you know, 5-10 seconds after you get radar or detected, and it's just a, you know, a destroyer, you can pretty much assure he's going to be near you. With that being said, I know people are going to ask, is the ship worth it? This ship, as you see, my first match, super effective. And to me, it's the combination of smoke and radar that can be effective. Now, the radar didn't play a huge factor in this match, but it very well could have. You know, if one of them destroyers had been, you know, over on my side, we would have definitely had taken him out for sure. So, but you're going to see, I think the destroyer is going to show his face here in a second. But I don't ever like to tell people whether to get a ship or not. I can tell you if I feel like it's effective ship. The problem is I find almost every ship is effective. This one more than others. This might be one of the better tier 6 cruisers. But I feel like if people use a ship the correct way, or use it as what it's good at, a lot of ships are much better than they get credit for. Now, this ship, in my opinion, very powerful. To hop into a ship, never play it before, and pop out 150,000 damage at tier 6 kind of lets you know how decent this ship is. It's not bad at all. What I did here is with this last radar, and people are going to wonder why I radared. There's only a few. I didn't see. I hit that radar before he got spotted. And I thought he was just going to sit there in the smoke. So I thought I was good to start firing, but you can clearly see we don't hit. So I start driving back at him. The reason I used the radar when I did is just there was not a lot of time left in the match. And to help my teammates maybe get a better shot, that's what we went with. You know, there's only 30 seconds left when I hit that radar. So just wanted to get the whole use out of the radar. But anyways, you guys can see, really solid match. 150,000 at that tier, and you're helping your team quite a bit. Now, this is an odd match. I didn't take out a destroyer or cap a base, so that's an oddity for me. But a solid game nonetheless, and I helped my team out quite a bit. Anyway, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time, folks.